Hello lovelies. So I have to admit I've had this discovery set from Miller Harris for quite some time. The reason I haven't got around to reviewing it before now is because it didn't excite me very much. And obviously, like most of the time when I'm smelling these kind of discovery sets, I'm trying to find similarities between these more expensive perfume brands and more affordable perfume brands that I tend to go for. So anyway, this has been hanging around for a while. I'm finally going to get to actually do a review. This is actually a really nice discovery set. I just wonder, I just feel like maybe Miller Harris isn't my ideal house. They don't really make my kind of perfumes, but let's just go through them anyway. So let's start with, yeah, it's just this on the inside. It's sadly, they don't have the notes on these. So I did just manage to drop those everywhere. Let's see. I don't know if I put them back in the right order, but we shall see. So let's start with Rose Silence. So Rose Silence was never really going to be one of my kind of perfumes because it's a rose and patchouli scent basically, which is never my favourite. I don't really love patchouli, and I certainly don't like floral patchoulis or well, what this sort of is, which is a bit of a fruit patchouli, not really my kind of thing. So the top notes here are blackcurrant and mandarin orange. The mid note is rose, and then the base notes patchouli and cashmere musk. This has the kind of rose that's in Delina, which is my least favourite of all the roses. I find it screechy and headachy. I really don't like it. I don't like the patchouli in Harris Perfumes either. So this is obviously never going to be my jam. If you like rose patchoulis and you like Delina and that kind of thing, I'm sure that you'll really like this one. It's just not my vibe. So that's like an easy one to be like, no thanks. Not too keen on that one. So Tea Tonic is much more my kind of perfume. This is a super pretty perfume. I really like this one. I would happily have a bottle of this, although to be honest, I don't particularly need it, but I would definitely wear it. Like, this is just one that I would certainly wear in hot weather. This is top notes of bergamot, lemon and petitgrain, mid notes of tea, nutmeg and peach blossom, base notes of mate, birch and musk. So this really is just gentle and fresh and pretty. It starts off with all those, petitgrain, lemon and bergamot. It's so citrusy, a bit bitter, a bit sharp. But then it starts to dry down and it sweetens up a little bit. It's really, really cute and pretty. Interestingly, it smells incredibly similar to my 4711 Aqua Colonia Matcha Frangipani perfume. So Matcha Frangipani, I'd say, is ever so slightly sweeter and a little bit more powdery. Actually smells a little bit thicker and less sheer than this one, less watery, but essentially incredibly similar perfumes, a really, really similar profile. So you can still get your hands on that online. So you can get that for around £15-20 for a 50ml bottle. Considerably cheaper than this, although I would really love to have like a little mini 10ml of Tea Tonic that I could just take with me on a holiday or something, because it's really beautiful. But yeah, really lovely. I really like Tea Tonic, but I kind of knew I was going to like that one, guys, because it's very much my kind of perfume. So next on the list is Secret Gardenia. And I was interested in this one because I don't really like most Gardenia perfumes. They tend to go a bit buttery for me. They tend to get a bit creamy and smell a bit suntan lotiony, which I always find a bit cloying. But this one is more of a fresh, aquatic, watery Gardenia. It's much sheerer. It's not that like hardcore buttery smell. It's very light. It smells kind of like spring florals, which is very pretty. So in this one, there's top notes of water notes, pear, yuzu and bergamot. Middle notes of gardenia, jasmine, violet and ylang ylang. Base notes musk, sandalwood, woody notes and cedar. I've definitely smelt things that smell like this before, but this is perfectly pretty. It's not as nice as the Chanel Gardenia, but I think that's part of the exclusive line and obviously, insanely expensive. Let's have a look at what it's been compared to. Amarage Reflection. Oh, okay, yes. Yes, I see that. So it does smell a tiny bit like Carolina Herrera 212, although this is far more watery and aquatic smelling. Yeah, it's not, it's weird because it does have that same kind of profile, but it's a very sheer interpretation of that kind of smell. I love Carolina Herrera 212. That is like, if you imagine this scent, but in like the form of a bar soap and sweeter, then that's what Carolina Herrera 212 smells like. This is kind of like a kind of sheer holiday summer perfume. But yeah, I can see it has that similar kind of profile, although it wouldn't be a replacement for like that. They're not like for like because they've got, excuse me, they've got quite a different texture. But yeah, Secret Gardenia is okay. Again, not my first choice, but cute enough. So next on the list we have Reverie de Bergamote. So this one, this smells extremely masculine to me. So it is, again, listed as unisex. I think all of the Miller Harris are down as unisex, but if you, like me, like things that have a kind of classically feminine leaning feel to them, then this is not going to be for you. This has a classic aftershavey smell to me, and to be fair, it has all of the notes that would suggest it would be. So it's top notes of Calabrian, bergamot, artemisia, tangerine, orange and basil. Mid notes are lavender, rosemary, geranium, coriander, caraway, cedar and leather. Base notes Haitian vetiver, moss, patchouli and sandalwood. Yeah, I mean, it's voted as having the lavender quite high up, but I would say the rosemary, the vetiver, and like definitely the woods and the moss are higher for me than the lavender. But there's definitely lavender. Obviously, there's a lot of lavender. And there is bergamot, but I think the aromatics in here are really taking over this perfume. And I think there's less of the bergamot than there is those aromatics. Let's see. There's nothing on here that I've smelt that I think it particularly smells like, but at the same time, it smells like a real classic man's kind of cologne, you know? So not my kind of thing for me wearing personally. I'd like the smell of it on a man, I imagine. So next up we have, so now we have Oud Eclat. Let me just have a smell of this one. Oud Eclat is Miller Harris's version of Baccarat Rouge 540. Yeah, I mean, actually, interestingly, it smells a little less poisonous to me than the original Baccarat Rouge. Personally, although I like the profile of that perfume, I don't like the aroma chemicals that are in it, and I don't like most of the dupes of it that also have loads of modern aroma chemicals. My version of that is Guess Seductive Red. That's like a cherry and almond version of Baccarat Rouge, and I really absolutely adore that perfume. I'm obsessed with it and I love it. But this is closer to the original. But yeah, it smells a little bit less like a dentist's office to me. But it's very clearly Baccarat Rouge inspired. This has agar wood, marigold and cashmere wood in the top, mid notes of balsam fir, floral notes nutmeg and amber, base notes sugar, moss, leather and musk. I mean, you probably could have even looked at those notes before smelling this and gone, oh, that's going to smell like Baccarat Rouge, and it smells like Baccarat Rouge. Do you need to spend Miller Harris's price to get a dupe of Baccarat Rouge? Of course not. You can get it everywhere. You can get it. It's a decent like version of it, but you don't need to spend that kind of money to get a dupe of Baccarat Rouge. So next up we have Peau Santal. Any guesses as to what this one's going to smell like? If you said this is going to smell like Santal 33, then ding, ding, ding. Yes, it does. Another one that doesn't smell very original, not very interesting. It's perfectly pretty, but it smells like Santal 33. Although I also think it's really, really similar to the Tam Dao from Diptyque, but without that peanutty note that you get in Tam Dao. So Tam Dao EDT I'm talking about particularly. Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, Again, there's so many versions of this profile now that do you need to spend Miller Harris money to get it? You can probably get dupes all over the place. So top notes are saffron, pink pepper and bergamot. Mid notes olibanum, papyrus and violet leaf. Base notes sandalwood, cashmere wood, amber, vanilla and moss. So yeah, I mean it's Santal 33. It's like, it's not interesting. I have to say I was surprised at how unoriginal some of these perfumes smell to me, which kind of sucks, but you know. So I have seen lots of people talking about Scherzo, or Scherzo. I don't really know how I'm supposed to pronounce this perfume. I mean, I could not hate this more. This smells entirely like tar to me, which is an aroma chemical that I think is often like a synthetic oud. Oof, with patchouli as well. It's like a disaster. Again, it's like a rose and patchouli smell to me. I have a feeling that, yeah, when I've seen this in a sample from Miller Harris, it says peony, but everywhere else it seems to say rose. But I mean, I feel like the two are slightly interchangeable sometimes. So top notes, tangerine and artemisia. Mid notes of rose, olibanum, narcissus and pizzicorum. Base notes, agar, wood. Sweet notes, patchouli and vanilla. I mean, I'm just having a look to see what this is compared to. I feel like it just smells like, yeah, I mean, Cairo from Penhaligon's. What's that one called? The famous Lancôme, Maison Lancôme Rose Oud perfume. They're just all rose ouds. They're just a bunch of rose ouds. And Zara does a dupe of, what's this one? Because like this smell, I've smelled it before. I've smelled it before. So yeah, they've got one. They've got one called Fashionably London from Zara, which is the top comparison here. But let's have a look. Well, that one's compared to Delina. I mean, I don't really think. No, this is too much oud and patchouli to smell like Delina, but it is that same kind of rose again, which seems to be the Miller Harris rose. Yeah, I don't like that one. No, I was never going to like that though, to be fair. So the last one in here we have is Lumiere Doree or Doree. This is definitely a creamy, lotiony orange blossom. So let's have a look and see what it says in the notes. Oh, okay, neroli, right? Yeah. So it's bitter orange, petitgrain and bergamot in the top, mid notes of neroli and jasmine sambac, base notes, white musk, amber, vetiver and cashmere wood. Again, I've smelt this what feels like a million times, and I have a pen spray of Diptyque Eau d'Essence. This one doesn't start off quite as bitter as Eau d'Essence, but it dries down to smell almost exactly the same. Like it smells like a body lotion, full of like orange blossomy scents. Neroli, petitgrain, you know, it's just the classics. What else is it compared to? Anything else on here that's more affordable? It's compared to, oh, well, the classic original 4711 cologne, but this one I think is a little bit more feminine. It's a bit more creamy than that one. Is that Neroli Portofino? I can kind of see, yeah. Yeah, it's just a creamy orange blossom, and again, it's nice. Actually, what I would say, I'm just feeling at the moment, if you want a beautiful, light, sheer, like orange blossom, then at the moment, the one I like the best is the Prada de Infusion. They've got an orange blossom one that I smelt and I just thought was so perfect. Not quite as lotiony. But yeah, I don't like this any better than the Diptyque, but it is pretty. Like, it's a nice one. But yeah, I think realistically the only one I would actually purchase from here, if I could find it like for a really good price, like secondhand or like a, you know, mega discount, is Tonic. I would happily wear Tonic. I think Tonic's beautiful. And to be honest, even though Oud Eclat is such a rip-off of Baccarat Rouge, I do like this one and I would wear this because it doesn't have the same modern aroma chemical that bothers me in Baccarat Rouge. And Peau Santal, that's perfectly nice, but again, you know, if I'm going to wear something that has that Santal-y feel, I'm going to wear Katy Perry's Indie because it's my favourite of all time. I'm obsessed. And I also have a pen spray of the Diptyque. So, you know, I don't really feel like I need any extras. But yeah, so that was interesting. So I gave it a go. I don't think Miller Harris is like my favourite house. I don't love them, even though they are from my town of London. Yeah, they're just not necessarily for me. But I feel like you can find affordable versions of nearly all of these perfumes. So that's what I advise to go and do, generally speaking. Anyway, let me know. I'm sure there's loads of people watching this getting furious with me, but if you like them, this is, we've just got different tastes. So anyway, let me know if you have any of these. Let me know which are your favourites. I've actually ordered a couple of samples from Miller Harris because I really want to smell Violet Ida. So I've got a couple of things on the way from them that aren't part of the Discovery sets. So yeah, I'll be back with my reviews when those arrive. Okay, bye guys.